Let's go to this conversation now. The Enyobeni Tavern Tragedy has cast the spotlight on the lack of recreational facilities in some communities. Some have accused government of being reactionary in its approach around the issues, while others say issues, in fact, simply go deeper. There have been calls for government as well to declare Scenery Park a disaster area so funds could be allocated to build sports fields and facilities needed for young people, but others say this may not necessarily help. But let's look at this and more on at a wider scale with Khayelitsha Development Forum, Ndithini, Tyhido and Yolanda, Dyani, who's East London community activist. Thank you so much to you both for your time. I'll start with you, Yolanda. The president today is saying that young people have come to associate having a good time with having drinks. But one will ask the question, in some of the areas like Scenery Park, for example, where they have no other recreational facilities, do they simply have any other choice?
They don't have a choice besides alcohol because the councillor is inactive, does not communicate with the youth leaders of the community, and there's no communication at all. So the councillor basically doesn't know. It seems like the councillor doesn't know what is needed in the community, but those kids have no libraries and they don't have, besides the business hub that has just been built recently, they don't have any sports fields, they don't have libraries, and there's lack of activities. They are not creative, you know. So now the youth is pleading that we bring back the activities that will involve young people. Currently, there's E-Color Youth Foundation that we have just formed. We are opening applications so that the youth gets busy and not busy with alcohol.
Now, Ndithini, I'm listening to that and I go back to what the president was saying, talking about how more and more ward councillors need then to be visible in their communities and take up the issues of concern for the people in those areas. You know, when one really listens to Yolanda, it doesn't sound like this is happening in her area. Do you have a different experience in Khayelitsha?
Good evening, Bongiwe, to you, to Yolanda, and the listeners of Full View. Look, the circumstances and the situation is the same as it is in Scenery Park. Most of the communities, you see, unfortunately in South Africa, most of the black communities do not have sporting amenities or facilities at all. So I really agree with Yolanda that maybe this situation needs, or in incidents such as the one in Scenery Park, requires an all of society type of approach where parents will play their role and parent their kids, where the regulatory bodies such as the
Ndithini, I'm not sure if you're still there. All right, we'll try and go back to him there because he talks about a very important issue around what is happening in his area. And remember, of course, this is an area of Khayelitsha where we saw young people as well being killed in a tavern shooting as well. So certainly they have also had their fair share of such incidents. Let me come back to you then, Yolanda. When we look at such areas, how vulnerable would you say young people in these areas without age-appropriate facilities are when it comes to some of the societal ills that these very communities are facing?
They are so vulnerable because, you know, and we are trying by all means to get them busy, but, you know, these teenagers are just getting out of hand, and we can only try to intervene with the help of the government. Of course, we do need funding when it comes to those programs because we have of the resources that we're lacking on. We don't have money, we don't have funding, but we are trying by all means that the youth does not get out of the street. So they are vulnerable because they don't work. Those teenagers don't work, and most of them, they are from poor backgrounds. So they don't have money to buy this alcohol. So that's when they get vulnerable, because they are targets for men. And recently, Enyobeni, there was a rape case as well. We don't know what is the update about that rape case, and we don't know what really happened inside the toilet. We don't know what transpired the girl to come out of the toilet screaming and saying that the guy raped her. So they are really vulnerable, and we need immediate intervention from the government. As the Scenery Park residents, we need government to get involved and to listen to our cries. Because even we've been complaining about the street. For instance, there's only one street in Scenery Park that's coming from East London, from the town, and exit from Scenery Park. So that road has had like potholes for the whole year, and they're getting worse and worse. They have just, after this incident, they have just been developed. There have been developments now that the president is going to come in, other leaders of the country are going to come. So now they are now fixing the road.
And I'm going to come back to you about that, because that was a point I wanted to ask, to say that then if this is happening, it looks like there may be money.
I don't know if
but
it's me.
Yolanda, if you may just hold on a second for me. Let me go to you, Ndithini, because your line, dropped at some point. But where you are in Khayelitsha, at some point, we did see a shooting at a tavern of young people. I wonder, has anything changed post that? Because that was a highly publicized incident, and there was also complaints about young people not having recreational facilities also in Khayelitsha. Has anything changed since then?
No, Bongiwe, nothing has changed since then. And nothing that looks like it's going to change anytime soon.
What will it take for it to change? Because when we were talking to you at some point around the issue of crime fighting, you were saying that these lack of service delivery issues are also making it difficult for crime fighting efforts to unfold in the manner in which they should.
What it would take a genuine civil servant. For instance, the people who work in liquor boards, they must also tell the country, what do they do with the monies that they collect from the liquor traders? What do they do with this? And including training of the very liquor traders they collect the monies from. Because you need educational programs, diversion programs for young people, and a proper and a sustained monitoring system by the liquor authorities, such as the liquor boards, even the manufacturers of these alcoholic beverages, to also tell the country what are they doing, except for the adverts for these things. What couples their adverts? On TV, you would see niceties around alcoholic beverages, but you don't find them on the ground educating children against the dangers by the same products they produce.
Before I go back to Yolanda, Ndithini, I'm going to ask you before we also end off this conversation. We saw yesterday and the days before that there is a suspect that has since been arrested, purportedly linked to some of the shootings that we've seen in Khayelitsha, and there are allegations that he's the mastermind. What is your reaction to that?
For now, Bongiwe, we're hoping to have a conversation with SABC. We don't have much detail about him being the mastermind or not. But all we are saying is that we will have a conversation with SABC, and then we'll be able to properly respond to the arrest itself.
Going back to you, Yolanda, one of the things that we heard even from our reporter Abongile last night is that the roads were being tarred, and as you've alluded to as well, that there was a lot that was being done in terms of fixing street lights and all of that in the area. You say that as an organization or a group of young people that are trying to really assist in the area of making sure that there are some recreational facilities. You don't have the money, but when you see that all of a sudden these things are fixed and the president is in town, does it then not say to you as the residents that the money is there, it may simply maybe not be available for you to use in the manner in which you need to use in, and how does that make you feel?
Okay, it's surprising that now the president that is coming to town and all of a sudden everything is getting fixed. We are so surprised as a community, and we hope now that this incident has taken place, that we will be answered and we will get funding so that we help where we can to get these kids out of the streets.
And let's talk about, at a practical level, Yolanda, what are some of these, facilities that you are hoping to be assisted to build for these young people to be able to have something to do?
We want libraries. We don't have any library in Scenery Park. So we are hoping that we will be built a library so that the kids go out of school and study in the library. We want a sports field because the girls want netball as well and the boys soccer. There's a lot that we want that will get these kids out of the streets. Even the programs that we have on our timeline, they need funding as well.
Ndithini, as we then are rounding up this conversation, for you in Khayelitsha as the activists there, what do these recreational facilities look like?
Man, Bongwe, to be honest with you, Khayelitsha right now does not have any, literally, and they have none whatsoever. So we are really calling on all three levels of government to work together, also to the business, the liquor manufacturers, liquor traders, liquor authorities such as the liquor boards, to put their shoulder on the wheel, to also help communities to support community initiatives that are aimed at diverting young people from taverns and shibiens.
All right, let me thank you both for your time and for really just talking to us about how these, amenities look like for young people, because we've been hearing quite a lot when it comes to these recreational facilities and how they can be able to assist the situation. So let's see then if you are able to even get some of what you're looking for. That is Khayelitsha Development Forum Chairperson Ndithini Tyhido, as well as Yolanda, Dyani, who is the East London community activist, and they were talking to us about the importance of these particular age appropriation recreational facilities, as also mentioned by the President earlier on.